cannot imagine living in a situation like that. Because the only thing I can compare that to is like if someone was in prison, they would be subject to that type of living where there's 2 to 4 people in a cell. Family, I've got some shocking information for you, family. First of all, let me know how you're doing today. Drop me a comment. Where are you watching from? How are you doing today? Welcome back to the channel, family. Listen, I've got a relative living in New York right now. And this relative of mine is thinking about relocating to, of all places, from East Coast New York to California, West Coast. You know, that's a whole other, extraordinary story. But anyway, this relative of mine have been researching, renting a place to live in California. And I've told you guys over and over that renting in New York is so incredible. A very small space, let's say a 1-car garage space, not much, in New York will cost you an easy $1,200 US. Well, I got something to top that. My relative researched this information, and so did I. Living in California right now is beyond outrageous. I'm shocked, guys. I am so shocked about this. Listen, living in California now is just like, I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't think about it. It's just not worth it. I'm like, what? But anyway, now I heard about this type of living, and I've actually seen it, over the last couple of years, actually in Asia, where people are living in, I can't even describe it. I can't even describe it. But anyway, really, really bad conditions, really tight space. So I heard about it in Asia. So now I'm hearing about something similar to that in California. But in Asia, what they were doing is this. They were renting out, let's say, commercial space and chopping it up into rooms. Rooms the size of let's say, a walk-in closet. No windows, of course. And you have your bed, and you padlock your space, and you have a communal restroom that you would, share, and a shower that you would share. So I heard about it in Asia. I can't remember if it was China. I don't remember if it was Japan, but it was definitely Asia. So I heard about that a couple of years ago. So now I'm hearing from this relative about something similar in California, but just as ridiculous, guys, ridiculous. So I have to, I have to research this, guys. I do. I have to research this because it's just outrageous. It is. So what I'm hearing is this, that people are renting out space, all right? And it looks something like, oh my God. Let's say they're renting out, space in a house, but they're not renting out a room in the house, which would be, acceptable to me. You rent out a room, that's acceptable, okay? But they're renting out this little tiny space. And, let's say there's like 3 people in this one room. 3 people, guys, renting out this one room. Can you believe that? Drop me a comment, guys. What's your thoughts on this? Because I think it's ridiculous. But this is California, okay? I'm talking about, all right? And this small space that they're renting basically is like a bunk bed space. So they got about 3 or 4, let's say, beds. 2 beds, stacked on top of each other. That's a bunk bed. So they have, let's say, 2 sets of bunk beds in this one room. And they're renting out the bed, that bed space, that sleeping space. And that sleeping space, the cost is $1,000 US. Did you guys hear that? That's right, guys. They're renting out a bunk bed space for $1,000 US, and that's occurring right now as we speak in California. outrageous? Don't you think it's outrageous? I think it's absolutely outrageous. I do. I cannot imagine living in a situation like that. Because the only thing I can compare that to is like if someone was in prison, they would be subject to that type of living where there's 2 to 4 people in a cell. Your only private space or personal space is the bed that you sleep on. You know, so people in California are paying for bunk bed space, and I compare it to living in a prison cell. Living out a bunk bed space. Have you done something like that before? I haven't, and I never will. I try it. I just won't. I don't consider that living. You know, you're living with total strangers, basically, in a one room, and there's 4 different people just living on a bed, sleeping on a bed, renting out the bed space. And yeah, they share, let's say, the living room, what have you. And in the kitchen, they've got a shelf, let's say in the fridge that they can use, a shelf in the kitchen cabinet that they can use, that type of thing. And this is costing you $1,000 a month to sleep on that bunk bed in California. I think it's shocking. It's outrageous. I'm just like beside myself. Why would someone subject themselves to that? You know, I've got to find a better way. For me, I'm not going to live like that. Let me know how you feel about this. I just won't do it. So New York is expensive, yeah, but $1,200 for a private space, 1 room. Yeah, it's a tight space, fine. I'm going to do that versus going to California and renting out a bunk bed for $1,000 a month. That's US dollars, guys, a month. I think it's outrageous. It's shocking to me. Let me know what you think about it, guys. So I'm always going to be sharing with you life in America, what the cost is involved, the different states that I'm talking about. I'm going to always share this information with you guys. If you find this information helpful, if you feel that you've been informed, drop me some comments, please. If you like my content, as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Join the family. This is Nala. I'll see you guys in the next video.